Hey guys, welcome back to Double D in the Morning. This is Double D in the Sunday Morning, episode 39. How to have pride in whatever you do, part 1. Which is a big key in being successful. You want to have pride in what you do. There are so many different levels of having pride in something and being successful with it. There's jobs, like Steve Jobs, or Michael Jordan, or Butch Hartman, or Chuck Jones, or Shaquille O'Neal, or Kobe Bryant. And that's a level of pride and talent. But then there's also humanitarian pride in things, like giving to things like St. Jude and stuff like that. Of course, not that the second kind of pride that I mentioned is people are just doing it to make them feel good. Anything that you do, whether it's a job or a humanitarian thing, you should have pride and do it, but have pride in it for the right reason. Don't be doing this for yourself. Do it because you know you can. Be a great animator, or a great tech mind, or a great athlete of any kind. Football, hockey, basketball, soccer, or just something. Whatever it is you want to find success in. You'll do your best finding success if you have pride in it. For instance, critics like Siskel and Ebert, they wouldn't have found any kind of success with it eventually in their careers when they first started out if they didn't have a level of pride and enjoyed it. You gotta have pride in what you do. That's how you become successful. Michael Jordan would have never become the Air Jordan or Michael Jordan that he became if he didn't have pride in what he played and what he did. The talent part comes to it naturally, but you've got to have pride in what you're doing or you're not going to succeed. And I'm going to go a little bit old school with this part that I'm going to talk about, like the 9 old men were the 9 first great core animators from the late 30s to the early 70s when the bulk of them retired. They had a whole lot of pride in working for Disney and just doing what they did. They loved it, and they all did it for close to 40 years until they either died or retired. But those 9 people, and you know their names, so I'm not going to say them, if you're a historian, an animation historian buff like myself. They worked for Disney for decades and made some of the greatest examples of pride with their job in animation. Snow White, 101 Dalmatians, Cinderella, Pinocchio, Dumbo, you name it, they made it. Some of them, a few of them in particular, like Frank Thomas, continued on at the studio until around the time of The Fox and the Hound, which was in the early to mid 80s. But they became famous in the animation industry, A, because of their talent, but B, because they just really enjoyed and wanted to become the best. Not just because they worked for Disney and he was a bit of a perfectionist, but just simply that they enjoyed and loved what they were doing. They had pride in it. And that is the core thing that I think anybody that's going to vocational school or college to do whatever they want to do, or if they can find somewhere out there a good paying job that's in something they want to do that they could just learn off the computer, like being a YouTuber or a residential animation thing at home. It doesn't matter what you want to do, but you've got to put your first foot forward and really go into it with a want-to attitude and pride. That's how you succeed with anything. But all of this pride and successful thinking is going to require a lot of work to build up your pride level and to build up your success level in whatever you're trying to do. It's going to take a lot of work to be the top YouTuber, or at least in the top 5, or to be the modern equivalent to something like the 9 old men, or to be the best, whatever you want to be. Do whatever you want to do. And that's just the way I think. You don't have to be the very best. I'm just saying, go out there and be the best you could be at it. Because you can. But it's going to take a lot of positive thinking and pride and hard work to do anything and succeed. Because a lot of people think that you can just turn on YouTube and bing bang boom, you're JoJo Siwa or PewDiePie or something like that. It's not that simple. Trust me, I know. Because I've been trying at this for 3 to 4 years. And anything that's worth succeeding in is going to take a lot of work and a lot of time and effort But research whatever you want to do. Learn it like the back of your hand, and then you can develop a sense of how to and pride in yourself and how to be successful in the field you want to be successful in. One thing that might make a do-it-yourself animator as a tip to be a bit more successful and pridefully about it is an at-home animation. It's not going to require it's going to require some learning, but it's not going to require 4 years of college education like working for Nick or Cartoon Network or Disney or something like that. But another thing with the at-home thing is you could be an at-home cartoon maker and do everything for it. You could do the voices, you could do the writing, you could animate your own show. That's another thing to have pride in about doing it at home something. Because if you're successful enough, you could really take that off and be like the baton racer in an Olympic race and go for the gold. But it's going to take some learning how to do all of that, the writing, the voice work, and the animation. But I think you can do it, just like I think anyone can do whatever they want. You've just got to go out there and do it, and just give it a try. Be prideful also that you're just trying something different. You don't have to follow the crowd and do everything else that everybody's doing. Find something that you can succeed in and study it and do it, because that's how you try, and that's how you succeed. It's by trying. Trying is the first step to success. So get on your computer or read your books about it or whatever you have to do, and get out there and try something. There are books online about how to be successful in things, like specifically Sean Cannell's Think Media book about being successful on YouTube. That's not a plug, it's just an example. Or Sonny Lenarduzzi videos on YouTube about how to be successful with YouTube or just things period. There are videos and in their books about being successful on YouTube and being successful on a how-to basis like animation, an athlete, anything. You can find success in doing something on a how-to video on YouTube. And maybe if you looked into some of those, that'll give you how to have pride with things. But that's the goal of this video, so you can achieve it in a multitude of different ways. There's how to be successful in building things like building computers, designing things like interior and exterior, doing gardening, building things, how to have pride in learning something new. It can be done. How to have pride in how to try to be healthy is one thing you could look up. Or how to be prideful about your own personal health as another thing that how to have pride in. There is how to have pride with success, and then there's how to have pride with your life and your own personal pride with things. But it doesn't matter what you're trying to have pride in. You need to have a positive attitude with anything, especially your own health. The bottom line, because Double D in the Morning said so, is find something that you want to be successful in. If you want to be the next Steve Jobs, if you want to be the next Bill Gates, or animator like Butch Hartman or Chuck Jones, or voice person like Mel Blanc, do something that you'll have pride in and that you'll want to be successful. Be successful, but that's a key thing. Do something that you want to be prideful in. Like another example of something that one should want to be prideful in or can be is being the best father or dad you could be. That's a level of success that wouldn't be a job, a paying one anyway, but that's the best job you should do, and something that all of us would want to be prideful in. Another key thing about life that people would probably want to have pride in order to be successful is not your appearance, and not necessarily being a bodybuilder for that, but just staying in shape and being as healthy as you can be. Because the more pride in that, the more successful you'll be with that, and the more successful with that you'll be, the more healthy you'll be. But that's another key thing that kind of goes along with what I was saying. You need to take pride in your health. the more pride in it you have, the more successful you'll be with just your overall health. And the more healthy we are as people, the more easier it would be, at least from a health standpoint, to do all the other stuff I've mentioned so far, like being an athlete or a tech person or an animator. The healthier you are, it's easier to go out there and learn your job skills or other things you might want to have pride in. But your health needs to also be a key thing, because without our health, theoretically, we don't have anything of the other stuff that I mentioned. So your best health is your first step in any kind of success. Richard Simmons is a great example of a health pride person. He took great pride in keeping his body in shape, and he developed known as a health guru in the 80s and the 90s. If you want to be real healthy, be more like him. Another great, at least on the animation aspect of this that I've been talking about, of being prideful, is you want to be more like Frank Thomas or Ollie Johnston or Chuck Jones. You could research them and learn how to be prideful in your animation. You could research pride in athletes from things like Michael Jordan and Steph Curry and people like that, and practice in that field, and then you could be successful and prideful in your sports, or if you want to be like Eddie George or whoever. Research them and find out what gave them the pride in the success, because it was more than just the working and the talent. All of these people that I've been talking about had a driving force that gave them their success. You can find yours if you just do some research into yourself, because it's there. Well, that's it for part 1, how to have pride in whatever you do. Join me for my next video, the next one in this playlist, how to have pride in whatever you do, part 2. And remember guys, if you like this video, to like, subscribe, and comment, hit the notification bell till Double D in the morning. And follow me on my Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, and my Facebook fan group, Drew's YouTube fan group. And remember, all those links are in my comments.